Hello friends, if you are a beginner of Power Apps and you wish to create a nice app and integrate that with Power BI and Power Automate, this video may help you. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a nice app and then integrate that with Power BI and Power Automate. It's a very basic stuff, but you will learn a complete set of things. Let me show you first what I have created. Based on that, I will explain how to create that app step by step. This app has got three screens. One is the welcome screen where a Power BI report is embedded, and these two tiles are coming from the Power BI dashboard. And there is one entry screen where I do the data entry, and then another screen is an edit screen. And I have two buttons in the welcome screen. One is registration, another is report refresh. This report refresh is a button connected to the Power Automate, and there is a flow created which will actually go to the Power BI dataset and refreshes the dataset based on the data entry happened within this Power App, and then brings the report to the current status, and then that data will be displayed here automatically. And if I click on registration, I will be taken to the entry form where I can enter the data. For example, I need to enter a customer name, and then city, I can select any one of them from the drop down, and branch is a dependent drop down based on the city. If I select any other city, the city will be changing. And then I can add a student name. Then I can add one start date and then end date. And based on the selection of the dates, the duration will be calculated. I can select the department of the student, and then I can select the application, and based on the application, fees will be decided. Once the data entry is done, I can just click on submit, which will be added to the collection within the Power Apps. Now I can keep this entry, I can edit this entry, otherwise I can just remove this entry. If I click on this trash can, the data will be removed from the collection. Let me enter quickly another entry. And then the department, any department, and press enter, submit it. So for example, I have entered 16 hours because a 2 days program, and now customer asked for 3 days program, and I need to edit the entry. So I can click on this pencil button. If I click on that, it will be taken to the edit form. There I can select the information where it is not 12, it is 13, and so that you can see that duration has become 24. And if I click on save, this data will be saved inside the collection so that my data is updated. That is one level of app. The next level is I wanted to push this data inside the SharePoint, and that cannot be done by everybody. It has to be done by admin who knows the password to enter the data inside SharePoint, rather push the data into SharePoint. For that I have given a button, that is admin. If I click on that, there is a pop-up where I need to enter the right password. If I type a wrong password, there will be a notification that I am entering a wrong password. And since I do not know the password, I can just get out of it by cancelling it. Otherwise, if I know the password, I can just enter the proper password based on the accurate password, that update SharePoint list button activated. And then below one more statement is coming that once you update the SharePoint, the collection, the data which is there in the collection will be removed. So that is fine for me because I want to keep the data in the SharePoint. And if I click on this button, the SharePoint is updated, and then this pop-up window is now out, and my data is now placed inside the SharePoint. And the SharePoint is updated. If I go to the SharePoint, and then if I go to my site, and where if I go to the data, you can see this is the entry I have just now done, that is that is 11th of February to 13th of February, and this is the data we have done, and this is at 24 hours. And that way we have entered final information, and now I need to update this data inside Power BI. So there I have a button. So let me come back to the home. There, if I click on the report refresh, so currently whatever values you see, there is no Mumbai, and if I click on report refresh, it will take a while and the data will come inside the app, and I can see now that information is added. So this is the app we are going to create in our video, so please keep watching. So now you see the Mumbai is added. Now let me explain you how to create this step by step. I need to get into PowerApps and I need to create a new app, and it's a blank app and it is a canvas app and the format is tablet, and then I'm just giving Power App Demo, and then I create. So this need to have 3 screens. So let me edit the first screen, which is by default added, that is home screen, and I can add the new screen from this place, and it's a blank screen, and this is entry screen, and finally another blank screen, that is edit screen. Let me first give a design, at least the headers. So let me select the home screen and insert, or you can click on this plus and select shapes, or you can go to insert tab. There you can go to icons and scroll down to the very down and select the rectangle. And the rectangle I want to keep this much, and the size of the rectangle I can say width. Basically this is width. That width is parent dot width. So whatever parent is nothing but the screen, please give me that width. Let me change the color, maybe a little different color, and then copy this and paste across the screens. So all the screens having the same header. Now I need to add two buttons here. So let me select a button. This is basically the button to registration. So let me have registration, and then button color will be this, and the text color will be, I think this is fine. Same way I need to add another button, that is refresh the data set, and that way I have a button. So this button will configure later, but this button I need to the action. So when I click on this button, I need to go to the entry screen. So on select, that is the action, I need to say please navigate entry screen, and you can create a transition like in PowerPoint. Very limited transitions are there, and you can add one of them. So that way the first screen is ready. Let me click on registration. Now I am inside the entry screen. I need to add 2 buttons here. One, go to the admin where I can push the data to SharePoint. So this button name is admin, and this will be configured a bit later, and the color will be this, and text color will be this, and I want a home button here. So let me go to icons and select icon, that is showcasing the home icon, and let me give the color white, and then the action for it has to go to the home screen. So navigate, please go to home screen, and then any one of the transition effect. So that way we have the entry screen is ready. So in the edit screen also we can have the home button, but we will update this edit screen little later. First let us begin with the entry screen, and let us update the entry screen. Here we need to create all the inputs like input box, drop down, date picker based on the requirement. So all inputs are available in the insert tab like label, button, and they are just controls. Label is just a text, button is basically giving you an action to navigate and do certain activities, and text is you can add elements, but input is the complete one where you can add a button, text input, and so on. So I've decided which columns to be added to this so that my data will be complete. So I've created one Excel document where I have mentioned all the columns. So these are the columns I'm going to use, and these are the type of control or type of input I want to create. So customer and student is a free text. There I'm writing the customer name. Anytime the customer will be new for me, and student of course will be also new, so I need to have an input box. Then city will be a drop down and branch will be a drop down, but it is a dependent drop down based on city. Start date and end date are date pickers, and duration is an inactive input box based on the start date and end date. It's a calculated area. And then department is a drop down and application is a drop down. Fees per hour will be inactive because the fees will be based on the drop down of application. So let me add these inputs inside PowerApp. First I need to start with label. Label indicates what the field going to be. So let me keep this here, and then the text will be customer, and below that I need to have an input box. So I need to rename this label as customer label, and I need to create an input that is input box, text input, and let me make it a little smaller and then keep it like this, and it has a default text input. I don't want to have any default text. The reason, when I start entering the data, first of all I need to remove this and then only I can enter the data. Otherwise the text also will be part of the data. So that is the reason I don't want any text as such, but I want a hint text. So let me select hint text. Hint text is actually tells the user what he's supposed to enter there, but when he tries to enter something, that will automatically gets out, so you can straight away enter the data. So that is the reason I'm just adding that. And this input called customer input. So naming them very quickly is always better. So I need to now add student. So let me copy all those and then Control C, Control V, and align them using the guides. Sometimes what happens, by mistake you would have added like this. Now I need to bring this to the level of this. Exactly, I need to align. So how to do that? It's very simple. So whatever input you are creating will have an X and Y positions. So we need to see what is X. X is horizontal and Y is vertical. So vertical position we need to understand. So let me select this customer input, and in the properties if you go down you can see X and Y is 232. So now let me select the second one and just add that to this, the Y position, and that is aligned. But still, if you can use the guides, they will automatically snap the fields properly and align properly. Now I need to add a drop down for city and another drop down for branch. Let me select these. I think this is not customer. I think I need to say student, and the hint text is also to be changed. So this is student name. And then I need to name this as student input. Next, let me select both, Control C, Control V, and bring them down. Then this is going to be city, and this is going to be branch, and then I need to add the drop downs. So let me select input and then drop down, bring the drop down below city, and either using the guides you can do it. Otherwise you want to align it properly, you have the name of this input, that is customer input. I can adopt the same width and height to this. So let me select the drop down, and in the properties where I need to go to width, the width is customer input dot width, and then height customer input dot height, so that we will get the same height, and then just Control C Control V and then add it here. I'm going to add the items, that is the list of all branches and cities, little later. First let us create this, and then I need to have the duration, that means start date, end date. Let me just name it. The drop down is city drop, this drop down is branch drop. Next I need to add a date input, that is date picker, and let me copy these two, Control C Control V, bring them like this, and then bring them like this. I can just do the same thing, width, customer input dot width, and height is customer input dot height. So this is start date, this is end date. Copy paste this, and then this will be the date picker start date, this will be end date. Next I need to add two more drop downs, so let me select these two drop downs, Control C Control V, bring them and keep them exactly here, and then first name them. This is not city drop, this is city department drop, and this is application drop, and this is department application. Finally I need to add two more input box, so let me keep it here. So this input will be duration, and this input will be fees per hour. So this will be duration input, and this input will be fees per hour input. So that way you have the data. Only the hint text I need to change. I don't want any hint also, because here the data will be automatically coming, so I don't want any hint text here. So that way we have completely created the list. Let me just put them a little top, because I need to add a button there, and let me add a button, and then button color may be this, and this button will be for submitting this form. Now the time to add items to each and every input. Customer and student are free text, we are not going to do anything. Duration and fees per hour are calculated items, so we are not doing anything, but we need to add some formulas there. But city will have a list of items, so I have created one list of cities already. These are the cities. I'll select, rather I'll put one double quote across. So typing sometimes is not very interesting. So equal, let me select this, ampersand select this, ampersand select this, ampersand within double quotes a comma, and then copy paste across, and then copy this and bring here and just paste it. The last comma is not required, so it's quite easy. So instead of typing that, it's better. But there is a small problem because you are having a default value already. For example, if I go to this drop down, Alt and select drop down, you'll see that default value is coming. I don't want default value there. The value should be a blank. So instead of the Bangalore beginning, I'll write one blank, that is double quote and leave it. Now you can see the list is now having a blank and then automatically the list. So default value is a branch drop down will be a dependent one because based on the city I need to select a branch. So again, so let me select the cities, copy them, and then come to the branch, and then I need to use items, that is a property. I need to use the switch function, which is a multi-level if function kind of. So switch statement. So switch city drop dot selected dot value, and then the interpretation starts. If city drop selected dot value equal Bangalore, then within square brackets we need to type one blank because I need, again, default value will be blank, and then B1, then B2, then B3. You can write any branch names, but I want to just quickly finish it. And then I'll just copy these values, paste it all the places first so that I can change the names. This is D. That's all. Now you can see the drop down will be created, and let me go to the drop down and format the text so that it comes in a nice way. Now if I go to that branch, now if I select Alt, there is no branch, but when I select city Bangalore, you will see there are 3 branches for Bangalore. That way we can decide the data. So now we have finished the branch. Like we have removed the default text in input box, we don't want default date in the start date and end date. So by default the date is coming as today. So I'll go to the default date and I remove the date. I don't want this date. Same way this. We need to do the department. So I have created again the department list. I think I'm not created, so let me create it quickly. So like say finance, admin, HR, IT, sales, and marketing. Same thing, just quickly do this ampersand, and then this ampersand, this ampersand, and within double quotes comma, enter. Now if I just drag and drop, I have the names, and copy this and go back to my department. There go to items, and here square bracket, close square bracket. First I need to begin with a blank and then comma, then paste it. The last comma is not required, and then format the text. Let me select it and format the text. Now it is coming properly. Now I have a drop down department. Same way I need to create an application. So very quickly, I have application already done here. So this also same thing. This ampersand, this ampersand, this ampersand, and then just drag drop till this, copy, select it, items, and then within square brackets, first I need to begin with one blank and then paste them. And only thing is I didn't put that double quote for some reason, and then remove the thing, and I believe we are done. So now I can get the applications with a blank. The input box for duration and fees are now editable. That means when I go to the entry mode, you can see you can enter something, but that should not be the case. because the result should be in duration based on the start date and end date, the number of days or number of hours, and fees per hour will be decided based on the application. First, I need to change the view, how this should appear. They should not be editable. So let me select both, and there is one property, display mode. And then currently it is edit, so I can change it to disabled so that you can't edit them now. Now the text inside the duration and fees per hour. Duration will be based on the start date and end date. So I need to use the property default, and then I need to use a function date diff, that is date difference between start date is the start date input, comma end date, comma days, and now it is giving me 0. If you look at, I've already entered few dates. So that is 10th of February, 10th of February, and they are showing 0. Since it is the same day, date difference function is actually giving me 0. So I need to make it proper. So I'll add 1. And then it has the proper duration. But what happens when you clear all the options? I mean, once you are started data entry, you will be going to resetting all the fields. Once you reset these end date and start date, there will be a hint date. Even that also cause a duration of 1. So we don't want that. So we need to write a function further. We are using if function. If or either is blank input is blank start date, comma is blank end date, then it should be 0. Otherwise it should be date difference and whatever, and close bracket. So I need to make sure that the R function is closed properly. Now you can see it's by default coming 1, but later when you refresh or remove the fields and clear them, this will be 0. But I want number of days, but it is number of hours because fees is per hour. So into 8. Now automatically the duration will be changed. And let me format the formula. And then fees per hour is based on application, and I have already decided the fees. So that is, this is the fees. So let me first copy the applications, and then here in the default I need to type switch application drop dot selected dot value, and copy paste the values. And then I can do one thing. I can just actually concatenate this with ampersand this, so that the function will be much easier. And then here also 1 comma, ampersand within double quotes 1 comma, and then let me just bring down, copy this, and then I can paste it here. Very simple. Sorry, copy and paste. Only thing is the last one I need to remove, and here I need to put double quotes. For some reason the double quotes are not coming from my end, and then close the bracket. And if you format this, you can see that it's coming. If the application drop dot selected value is Power BI, this is, and otherwise it has to be blank, because I want a blank value also. By default it should be blank, so that it will be giving me the right value. Let me go to the edit mode. If I select Power BI, it's 250. If I select blank, it will be blank, and Excel 180. So that way the values are coming, and now we are good with all the input values and items and default values, etc. I need to make all fields are compulsory to make sure the end user is entering all the data to have a complete data. So there is one property, display mode, that will help us to take care of that. So let me select the student name, and based on the customer name, only the student name field should be editable. If you don't give any customer name, you can't edit student name. And you don't have student name, you can't edit city. You don't have city, you can't edit branch. You don't have branch, you can't edit department. And then accordingly application, and then button is if the duration is 0 and your application is not filled, then you can't have this active. So basically creating a logic. So let me do that. So let me select student name and go to the display mode, and I need to say if is blank, which is customer input, then it should be disabled. Otherwise display mode should be editable, so I can edit it. So currently it is disabled. Same way city, let me copy this, let me select city and then display mode, paste it. Sorry, I need to place space here, and then it is not customer input, it is student input. Now the branch will be based on the city drop. So if city drop dot selected dot value equal null, then it should be disabled, otherwise it should be editable. Now department, let me select department and let me select this formula, Control A, Control C, and come to department and display mode. I'll paste it, and this is branch drop. It is not inactive. The reason I did a mistake in branch items formula, I've already noticed it, so I'm just quickly telling you. Switch Bangalore, then these values, and then all the cities those values, but I didn't say the false condition. If there is no selection, it has to be within square brackets 1 blank. That I didn't mention. That is the reason the department was not reacting that time. Now it is reacting. So now based on that it is coming up. Now let me copy that formula and then come to the application. Let me go to the display mode, paste it. So this will be not branch drop, it is department drop, and then that. Finally, this submit button should not be active until unless I have entered entire data, first the duration, because I didn't put any control on these two. And then if the duration is 0 for some reason, I cannot active. Along with that, fees per hour also should not be blank, and then customer name should be there. So 3 fields if I control, I think almost everything I covered. So let me select and then select display mode. If and all 3 together is blank customer input, and then duration input dot text equal 0, it is a text, and then fees per hour input dot text, I think I can say is blank because it's automatically blank, is blank fees per hour input, and then I think those 3, close the bracket. Then display mode should be disabled, otherwise display mode should be editable. So I have some duration, that is the reason it is coming up. Let me do one thing other way around, not is blank, not equal to 0 and not is blank, then it is edit, otherwise disabled. And then close bracket. Now it is disabled. So that means when I type something, nothing has happened. So I need to type something, I need to add city, I need to add branch, I need to add department, I need to add Excel. Then only the submit button will be active. Otherwise it will not be active. So that way we have created the complete set of constraints. Now the form is ready. Now I need to match the colors of all inputs with the heading rectangle for similarity. So there are two states of these inputs. One is enabled state where they can enter the data, and another is disabled state. So edit state and disabled state. The colors for both the states are different. Currently let me complete the color for the enable state. So let me select the rectangle, and then the rectangle fill is this RGBA. So RGB is red, green, blue, A is alpha. So in Power Apps another element is added apart from that regular RGB colors in Excel or PowerPoint, the A, alpha. So that means the opacity, you can make it transparent and semi-transparent, etc. One means completely non-transparent. The moment you change this to any small number, it will become transparent. So that is the A, alpha will do. So let me select it, and then let me select all these inputs. The drop down arrow, the V-shaped arrow, is called chevron. So you can see there is a property for chevron background. So currently it is having a different blue. Let me select it and paste it. Now the color is good. Same way I need to select these two, and then for that I need to look at icon background. This also should be this color. So I need to remove this. Now this is the normal state, but when I disable them, the state will be different. So let me select and remove all the inputs. So we have made only these four as disabled. So I need to change the color of them. Currently they are showing gray color. So let me change the color. So let me select all these four, and then this is chevron background on disabled. You can see chevron background disabled. There it is there. So I need to add the opacity to 70%, 0.7. So let me copy this. This one will be 0.7. Now you have the color which is little faded but matching with the complete form. My form is ready and I am going to do the data entry. Once I finish the data entry, I need to submit and then the data to be stored into collection. So currently submit button is not doing anything. On select, nothing is there. That means I need to make it active for creating a collection. So I need to use a function on select, collect. Collect is going to create a collection, and the collection will be a user defined name, customer data. Currently it is showing an error since it is just created and it is not a part of the data, so it will show. Once you finish the formula, it's good. And then I need to write, actually I need to open a curly bracket, and then I need to close a curly bracket and close the bracket and put a semicolon, because I'm going to write few more functions in the down. So this is the basic structure, and I need to say a column name. I need to define a column name that is equal to whatever customer input dot text, etc. I need to write. So basically the name what you want, and a column, and what that input is giving the value. So that I can actually do inside Excel much easier. So let me go to Excel, and these are my columns, and let me copy them in the down, and then I need to actually put a column, and what the values will be. See, customer is an input box, so customer input dot text. Student will be the same and application will be the same and fees per hour will be the same. City is a drop, so city drop dot selected dot value. Let me copy down this, and this is again branch drop. Since I know what names I have created and I know what kind of input values will come, I'm just quickly doing, but you can actually go through each and everything, but these will help you as a guide. And branch department, and even this application is a drop down, so this is department drop. So while creating names, I created with proper names. I'm familiar with those names, so that is the reason it's easy for me to type down all the values. And then this fees per hour is an input, and duration is also an input. So this is duration. I think it's duration input. Yeah. Let me check it. Let me go back to my app and let me select duration is duration input. Fees per hour is fees per hour input. Go back to Excel, and that is fine. This is fees per hour input, and it is case sensitive. You need to be a bit careful. However, when you enter this formula inside the formula bar and Power App, it will throw an error and you can rectify it. So basically this is start date dot selected date. Let me do one mistake so that you'll understand. So let me rectify this, but one I'll just keep it as it is so that you'll understand what I'm talking about. So this is D and small a. Now I need to actually concatenate all these three together. So I need to put a comma also. Comma will not be there for the last one, and then I need to just bring them together. So this ampersand this ampersand this ampersand this. So typing is much easy now. And then let me copy this and come here to my submit button. There within the curly brackets I'll paste it, and now see start date is a problem, so name is not valid. So obviously you need to go to that name and just rectify it. So if you type a wrong name inside Excel, definitely it is going to help you. And if I format the text, it is coming properly. Now this is for the collection. Now I need to reset all the fields. So let me select these fields. Maybe I'll just go back to my Excel. So now I'll just copy all of them, paste down, and then I'll just remove the text to columns, and I say delimiter, and that is a dot, and then finish. So now these are all the data, so I'll just copy them. Rather, I'll create a formula here itself. So basically the formula is reset, open bracket, and then close bracket, and then a semicolon. So let me just paste across. Let me just paste across, and then I'll just concatenate them. This ampersand this ampersand this, and then my job is done. So copy this and go back and paste it. Simple. Start date is a problem, so it has to be small a, and that's all. So that way we have finished the entire formula. Now we are good to go. Now let me add some data and then see how that can be converted into a collection, rather added into the collection. Customer name, city Bangalore, branch and this is the duration. Department is application, and accordingly the data is coming, and submit. And if I wanted to see the collection, go to the view tab on the top, and you can see the data entered now, and that is appearing as collection. While creating the submit button function, that for collection and reset, I did a small mistake which I found later. If you look at here, there I have just added student is not customer input, it has to be student input. That you need to just rectify. And here also not reset customer input twice and not reset start date twice. So that little went wrong, but I rectified that offline. So I suggest you to rectify that as well. So I have added few more records. If you see, the records are 3 records are there. And now these 3 records, I would like to show them as a gallery so that I can see them. What are the data entry happened? I want to see them. Insert and then select a gallery, vertical gallery. And by default it is coming like a gallery with picture, etc., which I can adjust later. Let me just keep it here. And then I need to change the picture and everything, that layout. So layout is image, title and subtitle. I'll just say title, subtitle and body. And then this is now empty gallery, and rename the gallery customer gallery. And then this need to be connected to the data, otherwise how come this show the data? So the moment I select the gallery, I can see the data source, that is collection, the customer data. And some information is coming because they are not set up properly. I need to set up them properly. So for that I need to go to fields and edit. So the title I want customer because I need to see the customer name. Then I wanted to see the city. Then I wanted to see the branch, and branch is a training location. So I'll select branch, maybe I'll make it a little small. And in this, currently branch is this item dot branch. So this is a training location. So I'll say double quotes training, or I can say workshop location, so that it comes properly. And then I wanted to know what is the duration, the number of hours. So I need to create a label. While creating the additional label, you need to select one item and then insert a label so that it will be added inside. And this label has to be the duration. So not city, it is duration. And then I need to say duration and ampersand, and again ampersand hours. So I need to just very specifically mention what it is exactly, the unit. So duration is 16 hours, and I can make it bold so that that appears properly. I need to add another label. Select one item, insert a label, and that label I'll keep it here. And this label should be start date. This item start date, and in the beginning start date, so that it looks nice. Just copy paste down because I want to know the end date also. And then this start will be end, and this start will be end. And let me make this also little properly visible. Now this is the final outcome. And this button I don't require. This button I want to convert into an edit button. So if the moment you select the button, you can see in the right side the properties icon is now currently right. That I wanted to make it edit. And then also I wanted to add another icon, which is a trash can, to delete this particular row. So go to icons and then select a trash can, make it little smaller and bring it and keep it here. Now that way the gallery is now update, and the moment I add the data inside these fields and click on submit, the data will be going to collection and the data will be appearing here. While adding the trash can icon, I did a mistake. I should have selected any one of the card, the front card, basically the beginning card. Otherwise, this will not come to the all cards. So let me remove it. Let me cut it and then select it, the card, and paste it. And then it is added properly. Now why I have added this trash can and edit option is to give extra control. So when I select, click on the trash can, this entry from the collection should be removed. On select action, I'm writing the formula, remove customer data, from the customer data, this item. So if I go to my view and then if I click on this button, this entry is gone and it is not part of the collection anymore. This pencil button is to edit the entry in the next screen. On select, I need to create a variable. So that is set. It is a global variable, and then name of the set is edit, and then it is true. So that will allow me to make the data entry. Semicolon, and then it has to go to the next screen, that is edit screen. So navigate, edit screen. Now if I go to view and if I click on this button, now I'm inside the next screen, that is edit screen. On this screen, the edit screen, I need to have two buttons. One is whatever I do the edit need to be saved. So let me select the button color is this, and button text is this. Control C, Control V. So one button is for saving the changes I'm doing. Another is cancelling, if at all I want to cancel. What cancel does, what save does based on the fields we are adding. So I'm actually having a scope of change only for start date, end date and duration. Because customer name, student name and other fields are almost settled. Only my customer may ask me to change the duration, maybe reduce it or increase it. Only those fields I am going to edit. Other fields not to be edited. So I'll do one thing. In the edit screen, I'll add some, how many labels out of 10, I'm adding 7 labels only to just showcase the data. So label, Control C, Control V, and then Control C, Control V, and finally one more label in the down. Let me give some border. Currently the border is 0, so I need to make it 1 so that I can see the border. Let me bring it down and let me bring the text in the middle and no default text, and it has to be based on the value. So this is customer, this is student, etc. So this is basically based on the gallery what we have created in the entry screen, that is customer gallery. So this is customer gallery dot selected dot customer. So that should appear here, and let me copy this, and here it is student, and here it is city, and here it is branch, and here it is department, and finally, and this is application. So what else is missing? So customer, city, branch, department, application, fees per hour. I need to paste it, and fees per hour. And I need to just make sure that the same format what I did in the entry screen I need to follow. This is actually showing 0, and let me make it as some proper format. Otherwise what happens, it's just showing 0. So I need to write in the beginning duration and ampersand. So this is coming like this, and then ampersand hours, so that it is currently showing duration 0. Same format I want to use there, so that both the entries will have similarity. So let me go back to the edit screen there, duration and ampersand hours, so that duration is those many hours. I want all of them to be in the bold, so I'll select them bold, and I need to name them as something. Confirmed field, up to you how you want to make it. So I'll just put it like this, and I'll center it, increase the text size to 25, and I say confirmed fields, and I want to give a background. So the fill, maybe I think it's good, and these are the confirmed fields, and I need to add 3 more fields, date picker and one input box. So let me select input, date picker. So let me select it, and this date is not default date. This is, let me paste it, and this is start date. And same way, Control C, Control V. And then this is end date. And then finally I need to have an input box, and this has to be not active. Display mode is disabled, and this is not text. Sorry, it is not text, it is default. It is not an input box. So there I need to type the same function what I have typed. I think it's date difference is fine. Date difference is fine because it is not going to be blank anyway. Date difference, the date picker value I need to say. So this is basically this date picker is ED, this date picker is SD. Sorry, yeah. So now I need to select the formula, and this is, I say SD start date comma ED comma days plus 1 and close brackets multiplied by 8, so that this will give you a number of hours. However, these fields to be edited, edit required. So now these are the fields. So now what I need to do, whatever data I enter here, I need to give that action to save button, so that the data will be saved to the collection. The save button action will be on select, patch the data. Patch the data to customer data, because this need to be updated inside the customer data from gallery. I think it's customer gallery dot selected. Only that entry, because you are not updating all the rows. Only one field or one card you selected, and you are just editing them. So only that need to be done. In that only 3 fields to be updated, that is curly bracket. So that is nothing but start date, that is a field of customer data, and then that is sd dot selected date, and then end date ed dot selected date, because sd ed are these 2 fields, their respective dates to be updated. And then duration is, I think we need to name it, this is du, that's enough. So let me go back to that button. Duration is du dot text, and once I click on that, it should be navigating me back to the entry screen. So I don't want to be in the screen, so navigate entry screen, and I have not closed it properly. That is the reason it is creating a problem. So let me just save button and then select format so that it is formatted properly. So both are coming like this. So when I click on cancel, same thing need to happen. It should go back to my entry screen. So navigate entry screen, and then you can give a transition if you want, and that way we're done. So let me go back to my entry screen. So just let me click on cancel, so it will take me to the entry screen. So there currently the number of hours are 16. I want to make it 24, so 13 will become 14. So I'll click on edit button. I'll come to this. I think I need to do small change to it. I should be able to change this date without selecting the date picker, that is editable, that is true, so that the user need not go to the date picker. Same thing, is editable. Now if I go there and I just change it to 14, now the number of hours are 24, and if I click on save, the date is changed and number of hours are changed. And if I go to view and go to collection, you can see that number of hours are 24. I have quickly added all the titles like revenue tracker, registration screen, and edit data screen. Now the next step is to push this data into the SharePoint list, and that will happen only when you have an admin, right? For that, first of all, we need to create a SharePoint list. I'm keeping the same names so that the formula will be easy. So let me go to Excel, select all these names, copy them, and then let me go there and transpose them. Sorry. And let me keep like this. So this is customer, student. How many fields are there? There should be 10 fields. There are 10. Let me select both. So Control L, my data, my table has headers, and OK. And this is demo. And now I need to upload this table inside the SharePoint as a list. So let me save as. Let me go to the Power Apps, and I'll just save it as Power App Demo. So let me close this file and let me go back to the SharePoint now. I need to create a list. So I need to go to my site, and then in that need to select new and select list. That is from Excel, and I need to upload the file, and that file is in the OneDrive, that is in the Power Apps, and then Power App Demo, and open. Now the data is uploading, and it will give automatically the data type. You can see the data type is not good. Student is not number, it is a text. City text, branch is a text, this is a date, this is a date, duration is number, department is a text, this is a text, it's a number. Absolutely fine. And let me just go to next and give a name. Let it be only the Power App demo and create. Now the list is created. So the SharePoint list is good. Now let me come back to Power App. Now I need to create a communication between the SharePoint list and this Power App. Otherwise, how can you push this data to the SharePoint? So let me go to data and then let me add data source, that is SharePoint, and there I need to select the environment, there I need to select the site, under that I need to select Power App demo and connect it, so that is connected, and then I can give an access to admin. So only admin can do the push to SharePoint, so nobody can else do that. So I need to create one window where the admin will insert a password and then he will be able to transfer this data to SharePoint. So let me add one extra rectangle. So in that I need to add an input, that is text input, and it is going to be a password field. So currently it is coming text input. I don't want text input anything, just it should be blank, but the mode of the text is currently single line. There are three types of text modes: single line, multi-line and password. I want this to be a password because when I enter password, the name will not appear, the text will not appear, only this dot 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 will appear. And then I need to add some text on the top. So let me add a label. Hope you have password. So give a text of 25 and give this a white color, maybe that color only. Let me change the color of this color. So sorry, this one is the color, and I think this should be white and it looks nice. So that entry will happen, and if the password is not entered, then obviously there should be a notification to me. So let me add another label, and this label is on demand. Whenever you have issues, then only that label should appear. I'm aligning right, and then star please check password, and then it should be a white color text. And when it should appear? Only when I have some entry, and that is not a password, a proper password. If it is blank, it should not appear. I have a button, so let me select a button, and that button is to push the data to SharePoint. Transfer data to SharePoint. And then change the color to this. No, that is not good. I think this is good, and the text color will be black is good, so that people can read it. So let me add one more label. That label is notifying that if you have entered data to the SharePoint, you will be losing the data in this collection. So once data transferred to SharePoint collection will be removed. And this also will appear based on certain event. So that way we have created everything, and let me select all of them. So let me go to that label and let me say true first. And then let me select all of these guys and this also. And one more button I need to add, that is cancel button. So once I don't want to do anything, so what need to happen? So I say cancel. Let the color be different so that is recognizable. Right click and group. So now this is a group, and on this group we are going to do something. When I click on the admin button, this pop-up should appear. So for this I need to create a variable, the local variable on select. So I say update context, curly brackets, appear true. So when I click on that, this will appear. And for this visible property, for this group, the visibility property, so visible is appear. So now I need to go there and click on admin, it appears. So now for each element, visible property will become appear. That is the reason I was not setting up the thing. If I go there and go to visible, it is appearing. So now I can set this independently. So now what I need to say when something is there. So I'll remove this. If and is blank, sorry, not is blank, not is blank, pass input, along with that pass input dot text is not equal Vijay, then only true, otherwise false. So that is the password. And now this transfer data is going to be a trigger for the putting the data inside SharePoint. So it should not be active until unless the password is good. So that is display mode. If pass input dot text equal Vijay, then only display dot edit, otherwise display dot disabled. So now if I just go there and if I enter something, it is not active. So if I say Vijay, it's active, otherwise it is not active. So the admin has to have the access, and once it is inactive, it should not appear. It's active, then it should appear. So I need to say this is again visible property, and by default you will see that is appear only because it is taking the parent behavior. If button 6 dot display mode is equal display dot edit, then true, otherwise false. So it is inactive, it will not appear. And cancel is basically need to go out of this pop-up. So I say update context within curly brackets appear false. Now let me go back, and if I click on admin it will come. When I click on cancel it will go, and when I click on admin it comes up. When I add some value, that is the formula password, it's coming up, then it is active, then it is appearing, and when I click on that the pop-up should be out, and then the password input should be clear, and then the data should be updated to the SharePoint. That is what we need to do. To transfer the data inside SharePoint list, I need to have a communication with that SharePoint list, which has already been established by adding the data source. So now I need to patch the data with the data source inside that list, and patch will take care of single record. I have multiple records, so each and every record need to go inside SharePoint from the customer data, that is my collection. For that I need to use a loop for all the records inside customer data, and then patch the Power App demo. And then before patching we need to have a pre-populated form having all these fields. For that we use a function defaults and then Power App demo again, because that is what the pre-populated form will be created. And then I need to open a curly bracket and close a curly bracket. Within that I need to write customer equal to customer, like this, customer to customer. So I am bit lazy in typing these names. I have found another way, that is Excel. So let me go back to Excel, and then I can see my all field names. Let me select it, go to any other sheet, and I'll just paste it. Let me add one open curly bracket. Let me add a column, and let me add all the names, and then let me add a curly bracket end and one comma except the last one, and then concatenate it. So this ampersand, this ampersand, and then copy paste. While entering this formula we will face one problem. I'll tell you what exactly is that. Let's copy this and let me go back to my Power App and paste it, and it will throw an error. Don't worry, close the bracket first, and we need to just hover the mouse to see where is the problem. So when I keep the cursor on duration, it is telling I'm not able to understand. The reason is when you are using an input box inside the Power App for duration and fees per hour, input box is actually generating a text and you can't change the data type within Power App. But when I am posting inside sales, SharePoint, the column duration and fees per hour are numbers. So there is a clash of data type. So I'll do one thing. I'll go to duration, and then I say value. So it will be converted into a number, and also fees per hour value number. And I think the customer, this need to be title because the first column was title. That's all. And your data is good. So this is going to make sure that your data pushed into the SharePoint, and just formatted it, semicolon. As I mentioned, once I push this data into SharePoint, I don't want to keep this data in my collection, otherwise duplication can happen. So I'll say clear the customer data so that the data will be cleared, and then reset pass input, and then update context, that is appear false, and then navigate to the entry screen or home screen, because I want to update the data. So that way we have finished it. Now let us push this data inside SharePoint. Currently my SharePoint doesn't have any data. Let me go there. I have entered right password, and if I click on this, the data is gone inside the SharePoint, and if I refresh, you can see the data is coming and sitting here. There are two records, and then if I go back to my entry screen, you don't have anything. When I go for view mode, I'll not see anything. So that way we have finished the data entry inside SharePoint. I need to add more transactions, and then I need to create a Power BI report now. To create a Power BI report, let me go to SharePoint. So let me copy the path, go to new Power BI session, get data, and then I'll be going to the more option, and then list. So I can select SharePoint list, connect it, paste it, and then connect the data. Sometimes it may ask you to log in with Microsoft account, etc. Since I've already been logged, I need not do that. So I need to go to the Power App demo, and you will see there are few transactions and there are so much of data. I'll just go to transform because I don't want to keep all the columns. So first of all, I don't require all these columns. These are all not very important. Just remove the columns, and some reason the data is not properly coming. The names are not coming up properly. Some reason, I think the SharePoint creation was an issue, but anyway, I'll just quickly take out only few columns. So let me select all this. I don't require these, and I want customer. So this I'll just name it as customer. That is the reason I'm just coming to the ETL process. And this I don't want, this I don't want, this and this. So these columns are not very important. The next time when I load the data, these columns will not be there. So I have customer, then field 1, this is the text, and then this is again a text, this is again text. So this I don't require, and this is the duration, so I require it. Just remove this, and this is start date, end date, duration, and then department, application, fees per hour. So fees per hour will be a whole number. Application is a text. This is text. This is number. This is date. And this is date. And remaining things are good. I'll be just removing the first row. So remove rows and top rows, and that is first row, and OK. So now this is customer, and this is student. This is city, and I think that is good. I think branch I by mistake have deleted, maybe. That's fine. So now I'm just getting inside the Power BI report view, close and apply, and I need to create quick report. For that I need to create one measure. So let me create a enter data, a dummy table, and then basic measures so that I can keep my all calculations in a separate container. New measure, that is total revenue, equal sum x, and I need to use the table name as PowerApp Demo. Then the duration column multiplied by fees per hour column. So this will give me the total revenue. Now I need to create some visualization, and then I can just add total revenue in the values. There I am adding city on the top so that this is showing me the revenue by city. I can add the data label, and I don't want x-axis, and it's good. Same way I'll add one more chart, that is a pie chart. In the pie chart I'll add department wise revenue, and then legend will be on the top so that I can see a proper chart. And I think these two are enough, and you can create more comprehensive report. Let me save this report. Power BI demo, Power App demo, save it, and then publish it. So I'm publishing to any specific workspace, and I need to create a dashboard because I cannot take the report tiles inside the Power App. So I need to take a dashboard. So let me go to the report. I'm in the Power BI service now. So I need to just click on this pin visual, and then I need to create new dashboard, that is Power App demo. Pin this visual. Same way I need to pin this visual, Power App demo. Now I've done the dashboard. Now I'll go to the dashboard and see whether that is coming up properly or not. This is fine. Now let me go back to my Power App, and now I need to insert chart. In that you'll see the Power BI tile. So in that the workspace will be special workspace, and the dashboard will be Power App demo. In that total revenue. Same way I need to add another chart, another tile. So let me keep this here, and then their workspace will be special workspace, dashboard will be Power App demo, this. Now you have both the elements, and that way you have created the welcome screen where your Power BI report. Now we need to add the button. We need to interact a button. We create an action on the button so that we can refresh the data based on our data entry in Power App. To create that flow which will refresh the data set of Power BI, I need to go to action, and I need to select Power Automate, and I need to create a new flow, and the flow name is basically I need to select the Power App button, and now the flow will be created. This is, again I'll write as Power App demo, and then I'll create a new step, and there I'll just type refresh, and then I'm refreshing the Power BI dataset. As simple as that. Workspace will be special workspace, and then item will be Power BI Power App demo. And then save this. Once it is saved, you can go back and then go to the Power App and just select the refresh data button, Power Automate, and then add this Power App demo. And you will get a formula inside. Simply you need to close the bracket because there is no extra any element need to be added. Just we need to run this button and automatically button. That is basically a simple integration with Power App, Power BI and Power Automate together. So button is there in the Power App, flow is working from the Power Automate, data is getting refreshing, and then whatever update happens will come here. Now let me just go to entry screen and just cancel this. Let me do the data entry. Customer is Vijay, and let me do one thing. Let me just see what is there in the home screen currently. Which city is not there, we'll see. Bangalore, Hyderabad and Chennai. So let me go there. I'll select Mumbai. So student name, some student, city is Mumbai, and branch is M1, and I'll select this date and second date, department any, application any, and you have the duration. So submit, and then admin, and then my password, and then transform data to the SharePoint. And now you don't have Mumbai, so let me just refresh, and in a while the data will come up and add up to this. You can see now Mumbai arrived, and accordingly you can update this report, and it's going to be very complete revenue tracker. And keep on entering the data and keep on updating your Power BI report. You need not go to the report now again. If you have to create any new measure only, you need to go to the Power BI desktop and create measures and create another report, update into the dashboard, and then job is over. Bring the dashboard tile inside Power App and keep on do the data entry. Hope you like this video, and if you have any questions, please mention them in the comment section. And please do subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and keep sharing. Thanks for watching this video.